Human skin, once damaged, is replaced automatically. A tadpole becomes a frog after losing its tail. These natural phenomena are all related to the way our cells are programmed to die.
Apoptosis is an essential process for normal life. This process could also somehow go wrong, and that would result in disease.
One man spent decades studying this process.
Cell death will somehow become defective. The cell will accumulate and become the cancer.
He discovered the mechanism of cell death, and with that knowledge, he hopes to find the ultimate cure for cancer.
Even lots of frustration, but every day is a new beginning and full of anticipations.
Dallas, Texas. 2 decades ago, few Chinese lived here. Wang Xiaodong was one of them. Wang Xiaodong graduated from Beijing Normal University in 1984, just a few years after China reopened its bamboo curtain and let its young people study abroad again. Xiaodong seized the opportunity and came to Dallas on scholarship in 1985.
The floor I work on when I was a postdoc. I come back all the time, and I really like this place.
It's here at University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center that Xiaodong began exploring his first major research topic, cholesterol.
I got a chance to work with Dr. Joe Goldstein and Michael Brown. And these two scientists, I have to say, are a very few greatest biologists in 20th century. And they won the Nobel Prize when they were 44 and 45.
During his research, Xiaodong identified a protein which he at first thought was only responsible for controlling cholesterol level. But further scrutiny revealed otherwise, that the protein plays a much more important role, triggering cell death. The discovery changed the direction of his research. He began studying, with more zeal than ever, how this protein initiates apoptosis, the self-destructive biochemical process in our cells. Xiaodong did research day and night, taking breaks only to have dinner with his family and returning to the lab till 1 or 2 in the morning.
You don't notice the time passed. You can look into the microscope for hours because you are looking for something. And, it's like a treasure hunt.
Every day he did the same experiments, only to get disappointing results. But he wasn't deterred.
When I first started, as a graduate student, I took the failure very hard. I often was so upset that I just simply couldn't go home. I have to drive around the school until my emotion quiet down, then I can go home. But tomorrow morning is another day. And I cannot wait to come to school, to the laboratory, because now I have more ideas. The more ideas that I can improve upon on yesterday's experiment.
In 1995, Xiaodong founded his own laboratory to further his research in apoptosis. After more than a decade of painstaking research, he reached a breakthrough. It not only won him academic recognition, but also shed new light on cancer treatment and medicine. The human body is made up of more than 10 trillion cells. An automatic mechanism regulates the birth and death of cells. Each day, billions of cells die and are replaced by fresh cells. Human well-being depends on the proper functioning of apoptosis, which keeps cell death and cell birth in perfect balance.
And this process could also somehow go wrong, and that will result in disease. And there are 2 types of diseases that can be resulted from defect in apoptosis. One type is apoptosis can be sort of accidentally or undesirably turned on.
Which means more cells die than are born, causing organs to degenerate, as in Alzheimer's disease.
The flip side is cancer. You have growth, but without death, and the cell will accumulate and thus contribute to tumor genesis and become part of the cancer.
Xiaodong wanted to know what is it that keeps apoptosis from functioning properly. Every human cell contains many mitochondria, which oxidize food and generates energy to keep the cell alive. When a cell is programmed to die, the mitochondria release a protein called cytochrome C to set the suicide process in motion. But the cell may release proteins called IAPs that act as a shield against cytochrome C. The mitochondria will then try to overcome this resistance by releasing another protein called SMAC to neutralize the IAP so that apoptosis can resume. After discovering this previously unknown mechanism, Wang Xiaodong successfully created a molecular mimic of SMAC, which can be a powerful weapon against uncontrolled cell growth and thus cancer.
The idea that we have is whether we can, by understanding the precise pathways of apoptosis in almost that's all cell use, and then looking for what the particular roadblocks the cancer cell apply to keep them alive, and then whether we can use small molecule to specifically remove that roadblock, and in theory, and that will not affect normal cells, and that will specifically make cancer cells sensitive now to apoptosis.
Xiaodong lives in Dallas with his family. His wife Sherry has 2 PhDs and is a medical doctor specializing in rheumatism. She met Xiaodong at UT Southwestern. Their sons Alex is 16 years old and Daniel 5. Xiaodong says he feels blessed to be together with his loved ones, a luxury he rarely enjoyed during his childhood in China.
That's my grandfather. After I finished college and he came, he visited me, and 2 of us decided to go to Great Wall.
That was his grandfather's way of seeing him off to America in 1985.
This is my grandma, who basically raised me. We have lots of great memories together. And even now, when I think back, I realize how strong and how smart and how loving she is. I really miss her every day.
Wang Xiaodong's parents separated soon after he was born in 1963 in Henan Province, China. He was brought up by his grandparents, who were both teachers. The Cultural Revolution broke out when Xiaodong was 3 years old. His grandparents were harassed, and his great-uncle, a biology professor, was dubbed a counter-revolutionary and sent to the countryside to work as a farmer.
And every summer and winter vacation during my school years, my grandma would send me there to spend some time with him. And he talked to me about biology all the time and what he does, and it really fascinates me. And also, even though he lived in a countryside, and he lived very gracefully, he always nice to everybody and talking to them. And I think that's also influenced me a great deal and shaping me who I am.
But his great-uncle didn't live to see him take up biology in university. He died of liver cancer, just as the Cultural Revolution came to an end. Xiaodong's mother also died of the same disease.
But I do remember, when my mother died of cancer, and my great-uncle, this brother of my grandma, died of cancer. I did feel this, sense of helplessness, sense of despair, that I wish I could do more. I could do something, to help them. But of course, I couldn't do anything. So I guess that sense of helplessness stick with me. Maybe subconsciously, I wish through my work, I can eliminate or alleviate this sense of helplessness.
Xiaodong says he is greatly inspired by his family's courage and steadfastness in face of hardship.
他们那代人经历了太多的这个生离死别， 他能够还是心里非常坚强。I think back, I realize, that generation of Chinese people are really such a wonderful people, and they have so much love between them and so much dignity and grace.
Chinese wushu novels, especially those by Louis Cha, are another source of inspiration for Xiaodong.
I think his novel really have beautifully written, language-wise, and also he has this characters, the heroes, and that make you fancy yourself and make you inspired to be a hero, to do the right thing, being a scientist, study questions and the problems that may make people's life better. I guess in this sense, it is heroic. You want to play basketball with me?
He's even named his younger son Daniel after his favorite character in Louis Cha's novels, Wang Chongyang. Alex's Chinese name, Jianshi, carries special meaning too.
His Chinese name has two characters. The middle character is sword. The last character is stone. So with this name, I wish him to be strong as a stone, and as sharp as a sword. So I believe, being a minority, live in the United States, and you need to be strong and you need to be sharp.
Almost all of the 20-plus researchers at Wang Xiaodong's lab at the Southwestern Medical Center are from mainland China. They are now working on the molecular compound Xiaodong created, which has already been proven effective in activating apoptosis in mice. The next step is to make the compound into an anti-cancer drug to be tested on humans.
Human metabolism may be different than animals. Whether this compound will be toxic to human, and that we have to do many more research to achieve that, to eventually able to put in human and see effects in treating human patients.
Sherry Zhu says Xiaodong has always aimed high, ever since his graduate school days.
He has visions in research, so he doesn't care daily in and outs, gain and losses. He wouldn't put most of his effort and energy in homework, for example, or teacher's assignment. Instead, he would talk to individual scientists, learn their theory, learn their system. So in that way, I think he's a little different from most of the graduate students. In a way, he learned the essence of research at a very early stage. He's very intelligent, passionate, so that's the kind of character I like.
In 2004, Xiaodong, at the age of 41, was elected to the National Academy of Sciences. He's the youngest ever Chinese scientist to become an NAS member. But he has no plans to rest on his laurels. Ahead of him is the vast uncharted waters of biochemistry and his lifelong goal of bringing China to the forefront of the field. The Zhongguancun Life Science Park on the outskirts of Beijing. Its flagship establishment, the National Institute of Biological Sciences Beijing, also known as NIPS, was founded 3 years ago with funding from the Chinese government to nurture talents for this quickly expanding field in China.
这种细胞都是死的时候成团。
Wang Xiaodong was invited to Beijing to help set up NIPS and was chosen among 160 shortlisted candidates to be its director general.
你们吃了是吧？
Xiaodong flies here from Texas once every 2 months to keep informed and to make decisions, often over lunch.
但这个仪器，大家别人会不会有用？
你这一个小摇床就那么大，要6000多美金，你买它干嘛？国产的一样用，效果一样的好。
所以这种事儿就你们把关了。
是，我们就想
可是仪器委员会就是要做这个事儿嘛。
It's people, not hardware, that's Xiaodong's top concern. NIPS need to recruit top scientists from around the world to become a truly internationally competitive research institute. So far, 19 laboratories have been set up here, all headed by Chinese scientists hired from the US.
We try to recruit the best people, the best scientists back to China, create an environment that they can really do great science. We want to get the best people from wherever they can come, but they end up best people are still in the States right now.
The 12-hour time difference between Beijing and Dallas means Xiaodong has to work almost around the clock.
A lot of things, some administrative stuff you need to take care of. Dealing with emails from the U.S., you need to get informed, and you want to have your input.
On each of his trips to Beijing, Xiaodong goes to NIPS as soon as he gets off the plane and immediately circulates the building to check on his colleagues' progress.
Have something to do. I wouldn't say I like busy, but I wouldn't mind busy.
Xiaodong's directorship is an unpaid position. He says that makes it easier for him to ensure NIPS's independence.
This will be the first institute founded by the government, but administrated by a totally new mechanism, which is by this board of directors. The scientist here does have much more freedom. The administration here has much less restrictions, so they can concentrate and pursue science. But whether this kind of mechanism will survive, depend on lots of help, the understanding of the officials.
Beijing Normal University, Wang Xiaodong's alma mater. Today, many students here aspire to follow Xiaodong's footsteps in basic science. One of them is Zhang Yan. Botany major Zhang Yan has just finished her bachelor's thesis and is planning to study in the US next year. For now, she works at NIPS as a lab assistant. Her job involves non-stop experiments from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. every day.
At first it was fun doing experiments. After a while it wasn't fun anymore. Some parts are really boring. In school I didn't have to do a lot of experiments. Here I have a heavy workload. It's very exhausting.
Zhang Yan says she's starting to get disoriented, spending day after day on experiments that might lead nowhere.
I feel upset, very unhappy. Sometimes I would think, what should I do now? Why can't I get the right results? Then I would wonder if it's my fault the experiment isn't working.
大家看，这是一个非常美丽的一个女孩。
On this day, Xiaodong gives a lecture to a group of students. It's about two Nobel laureates' lifelong struggle to discover cholesterol.
这么年轻，然后她的血管堵塞，她的寿命这么短，使这两位医生有了一个很好的一个研究的一个系统，而且他们对这个系统有很强的这个 passion， 因为他们知道，我们唯一能救这个女孩子的办法，就是了解她为什么会这样。
His message to the students: think big, stay focused, persevere. Zhang Yan takes the opportunity to voice her frustration.
我回家的时候，我很多人都说你在做什么？我说我在做研究。他说你做这个研究能干什么？我说我也不知道能干什么，就是这样的感觉自己很 frustrated。
你目前还没有一个更好的选择，你要看看你能不能 take a little pleasure。这个既然走到一起，就说明有缘分嘛，是吧？
Zhang Yan isn't the only one in the audience feeling discouraged on the long, hard road of basic science research.
那在研究遇到低谷，就是很大的低谷的时候，那你觉得应该怎么办？或者，你们以前的经历？
我们的经历就是遇到低谷不能停，就是往前走吧，反正看不见也往前走，然后总是会慢慢的走出来。
Xiaodong's advice to Zhang Yan:
我觉得要学会自我调整。对，因为这个我们总可以 blame environment is not good enough. It's never going to be good enough.
These young aspiring scientists may have their doubts, but Xiaodong is impressed by their enthusiasm.
I think the most impressive part is they are very hungry, and they are hungry for knowledge, they are hungry for success. I never seen anything like that before, and only in China.
On this trip to Beijing, Xiaodong brought along his son Alex and his goddaughter Tingting.
Oh, this is just positive control, or this also PCR product?
Alex and Tingting have just started studying biology in high school in the US and are here to get a taste of real laboratory work.
I can spend some quality time with them and in doing something that I've been doing, and also introduce them to scientific research and to see whether they will, what's really working in the lab really like.
They're given an assignment like the graduate students working at NIPS.
I want them to make a specific mutation on a protein that we know involves in apoptosis. And we suspect, it's an enzyme. We suspect, its enzymatic activity might have something to do with cell death, but we don't know.
This is the first time Alex has ever observed human cells under a microscope.
Did you have fun?
I think that it's a good experience to see what lab work is really like. It's not all just pipetting stuff and then putting it in machines. You actually have to think of experiments and to implement them.
On this day, Xiaodong takes a rare half-day break off work to take Alex and Tingting on a tour of the nation's capital. They are thrilled to be on the Great Wall.
Wow, look at that. Go.
Alex and Tingting sprint all the way to the tower on the hilltop. Xiaodong is never far behind them. Coming here again after 2 decades brings back many memories for Xiaodong.
漂亮得不得了啊. My first time was almost 20 years ago. I came here with my grandpa. At that time, I just finished college and get ready to go to States. At that time, I was very young and innocent, and I was so much look forward to all these I know. After being in the States for more than 20 years, I've gone through all sorts of difficulties, and I feel like now I'm climbing Great Wall again. I feel very confident. I know I can get to the top. Come here with my son, and I hope he will follow the step and going to the very top, of his own destination.
For Xiaodong and other Chinese scientists of his generation, it had been a tough climb to the top, surviving poverty and the Cultural Revolution, and securing the rare opportunity to study abroad.
Time is very different now. Back then, China just opened its door, and we really don't know what's lie ahead. And going to the States, we have no idea what I get myself into. But now, with this generation, they have very good understanding what's like living in the States and working in the States, and they may also start looking back at the opportunity, what it's like in China. Hey,
Back in Dallas, Texas, Xiaodong, other Chinese academics and students often get together for parties and reunions.
Actually, the main thing I'm doing right now, it's probably the most important thing I've ever done and will do in my entire life, is to help China build this institute.
Other people look at Xiaodong more as the glory he has. But I understand him as, the frustration, the sacrifice he had behind his decision to do this. And I'm not sure that would be entirely a success story, a successful story as we anticipate. But even though I believe there's something we have to do, that somebody have to try this.
Our generation, we have this idealistic ideas that we believe that China one day will become a major contributor to science and mankind. So that's actually one of the reasons that we go abroad and study, and with the ideas one day we'll bring what we learn back to China.